don't know why. I'm gonna turn that shit off. You know what? I think we need some theme music. I want to find us some theme music because today I am going to go into all the different misconceptions people have about land investing and about probably real estate in general. All right. So I don't know. What am I going to pick? What am I going to pick? Uh, you know what? I don't know. I think it's a little too late for theme music now. Too late. Too late. I went to YouTube, and the first thing that came up were my searches for like what's happening in NBA playoffs right now. So, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Coach Vic, certified land investor, here with you today. Hopefully, you guys are doing well wherever you are, wherever's going on in your life. Hopefully, you are seizing the day and making sure you're making the most of every opportunity that comes your way. As I just said, we are going to talk about the different misconceptions that people have about land investing and about real estate in general. I'm gonna talk about the good. I'm gonna talk about the bad. I'm gonna talk about the confusing. And look, if you have any questions, you know what to do. Ask them below. It doesn't matter if it's the live. It doesn't matter if it's the replay. Ask them. You know how I do. I'll always get back to you guys. I'll always let you guys know my opinions about things, my experiences with this business. So let the questions fly. Now, I would love to answer your questions in real time. I use Zoom to kind of conduct this. However, there's a big lag and delay between Zoom and Facebook or YouTube or wherever you're seeing this. So I don't always get to answer them in real time, but ask them anyways. I love the interaction. And I know if you're having a question, somebody else definitely has that same question. So don't be a selfish jerk and hold your questions to yourself. Let everybody know what your question is so I can answer it for the benefit of the group. Now, why am I talking about the different misconceptions today? Well, I've been talking to a lot of you guys. As you can see, the Facebook group is growing, and I appreciate all of you guys who are joining, and I appreciate all the guys who are coming, guys and gals who are coming after this video has been created. But as I'm talking to you guys and get to know your story, get to know, understand you guys and you gals, I am seeing a lot of misconceptions that I used to have when I first started out. Like I used to think getting into real estate was super expensive. In fact, if you were to ask me to, hey, do you want to be a landlord or something like that? I'd be like, hell no. Not only would I have to have a bunch of money up front, I would have to worry about tenants and shit who be tearing shit up because it ain't theirs. Everybody says, hey, renters don't really care about their people's stuff because it ain't theirs to care about. And, that's not always true, but that's what a lot of people believe. And to be honest, I don't blame them for believing that because I've seen how certain people treat rental property. And you're maybe thinking, well, I rent. I don't treat my house crappy. Okay, we don't have to think about how think about how people treat rental cars. Would you want to buy a rental car if you had an option to buy a used car otherwise, or even a new car? Probably not. But you know how tough people are on stuff that don't belong to them. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to jump right into it. So I listed the top one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight misconceptions. So seven, and then there's a bonus one. And maybe you can understand these too, because these seem to come up very often in these conversations. Now, before I jump into this, let me know if you guys can hear me okay. You guys can see me okay. Let me know if everything is good. I'm going to attempt to look at any incoming messages and see if anything comes up. I don't expect much, but it's just to make sure that if somebody is paying attention right now and they can see what's going on, I want to give them the opportunity to kind of let their voices be heard. Quick peek and nothing. Okay, great. We're all good. So let's jump in. First misconception: you need to know a lot of information before you take action. True or false? You guys heard this one before? Maybe you're thinking this right now, right? And what do I mean by this? Well, oh, let me watch one more YouTube video. Hmm? Let me listen to one more podcast. Let me read a little bit more in this book. You know what? I don't know if the time is right now. I don't know if I know enough. Newsflash: you will never know everything. In fact, a lot of times, the more that you know, or excuse me, the more that you learn, this is before actually doing it, the more things that's going to stop you from actually getting started. Ask me how I know, because that was me. Now, what I've learned from one of my mentors is that when he has certain clients, those that have been, have gone through a lot of the education system, getting their master's degrees and bachelor's degrees and things like that, and those who are just, people who didn't do that well in school, even if they went to college, He realized those that went to school like to overanalyze things a little too much, and they get a lot more careful about everything. I was one of those people. So this isn't me talking trash. This is me. That's how I know. You're like, you're one of those guys, right? You went to school, right? You study computer science, you did a lot of engineering, and now everything you do, you see as an engineering problem, or for other people, like some kind of problem that you figure out in a math book or a workbook or something. And everything got to be analyzed, and you have to know every single detail. He's like, the more you do that, how much action have you taken in trying to learn all these little details? I'm like, well, none. He's like, and did those little details help you out when you actually did take action? In reality, they didn't. All I need to know was the basics and have the confidence to understand that if a question came up, I can find somebody that can help me out, or I can find the answer myself. We are in the information age. And in the information age, there's probably no information that you can't get a hold of. So even legal information, real estate law information, you can easily find that. It's a Google search away. Now, is it as good as having an actual licensed professional give you legal advice? No. But in most cases, now in my personal experience, in most cases, land is not that complicated because there's no houses that complicate things. And because there's no houses, typically land doesn't transfer that many hands. It's one or two owners, three owners. It's only complicated when somebody passes away and they don't actually have a will or something, and then you got to clean things up. But in reality, in most cases, to clean up that, you just need maybe one extra piece of paper, two pieces of paper, different affidavits and different forms, just to kind of show proof that, hey, this person that's on the will, or excuse me, on the deed died, and only person that wanted to claim that property was this relative, and they've been paying the property tax for 50 odd years. Okay, we're good. As long as someone's paying the taxes, yeah, we don't care if it's in your name. Again, because it's just vacant land. And a lot of these places are in remote areas where some of the counties are a lot more lax with their rules because things are slower paced. They don't have to be so stringent because it's not like they have a bunch of information coming in at them. So again, if you're sitting on the fence right now, or in my, like I say in my book, get off the bench. If you're sitting on the bench right now instead of getting into the game because you don't think you have enough, I'm here to give you permission right now to go ahead and get off the bench and get into that game. I'm gonna let you know everything that I'm sharing with you isn't from what somebody told me, it's from experiencing it. Like I have a lot of information from what was told to me. I don't use most of it. This is what it is. I have to experience it. That's how I learn because you don't know what you're going to come across until you experience it. So stop using that excuse that you don't know enough information. Now, if the information is really, really fundamental, like I don't even know how to find a property, I don't know how to contact people. Okay, you don't know how the business works, and that's totally cool. You're still new, you're still learning. Got it. But once you understand the basics of like, okay, this is how I can find some properties, and I just got to contact these folks, and I can, do a transfer this way. What are you waiting for? Most of you guys should know that. If I haven't given you guys enough info already, let say so in the comments. Let me know so I can actually give you guys more of what you need so you can get off the bench and into the game. I don't want no more bench warmers up in here. I want people who want to play. I want some ballers up in here. That's what I want. I know you want that too. You're not in this group just to hang out and have fun because, sure, making money is fun and talking about land is fun. Kind of, not really. But you're really here so you can change something in your life. You want more time. You want more freedom. You want more money. You want something, right? And this, you feel land is a way to achieve those things. But guess what? No matter what you do or what you pick, if you're not actually applying it to make the money to help buy your time back, then it's worthless. It's useless. So you don't need to know more. So stop listening to those podcasts, or I shouldn't say stop. Pause the podcast, find some property, and go out and make some offers. That's misconception number one. Think you need to know more shit. Misconception number two, you need to have a real estate license to actually do this. Now, lately, there's been a lot of people talking about, hey, I want to buy a rental property, I want to do this, I want to do that. And they feel they need a real estate license to learn more of the game. Like, oh, well, if I have a real estate license, I'll know more of the laws and the regulations and I'll have access to all these things. You don't need any of that shit. In fact, I would argue that will actually take away from actually staying focused on just investing in property. Now, having more information is never a bad thing, but in most cases, just like misconception conception number one, we don't take action on that information. So instead of waiting until you get a real estate license, why not just start about, sending us some offers out? In fact, oftentimes when I am selling some property and I get a call from a real estate agent that's representing a buyer, they have a hard time understanding what I do. So I'm like, yeah, I don't use a title company. I don't do this. I don't do that. This transfer happened in a day or two. They're like, wait, but you got to wait, but you're supposed to do it this way. I'm like, why? Well, you need a license to sell. I'm like, why do I need a license to sell my own property? But you see what I'm saying? Because of their education and their expectations, they get so used to doing things a certain way that it's hard for them to understand that there's a different way. That's why I'm saying getting a real estate license to do this type of real estate is a waste. You don't need it. You don't need it at all. And as I said, not only can it be detrimental, it can lock you into a certain pattern of thinking that doesn't help you get deals done, that will more likely slow you down, trip you up, frustrate you, and all those other things that you don't want to feel. Now, am I making sense to you guys? Comment below if this is making sense, if this understands. Comment below if one of those two misconceptions apply to you. Because I love to hear these things. And again, if you have any other questions or any other misconceptions, let me know. If I can't answer it while I'm going through this, I will get to it later. All right. Anyways, moving on. Misconception number three, real estate is expensive. You have that? Now, if you are trying to buy like a multi-family house, you're trying to find a single family home, apartment building, sure, it can be very expensive. Depending on where you live and the condition of the property, it can be a lot, for sure. Most people don't have the amount of money laying around that they can just go out and buy a property or at least put a down payment on it. So now they're trying to leverage themselves with loans and credit and things like that. Now, is that a bad thing? If you do it properly, no, it's not a bad thing. But those aren't the only ways to acquire real estate. Vacant land is real estate for sure. And as you know, I buy land for extremely cheap. Like for what one, like for some people just blow on a weekend in Vegas or Atlantic City or wherever, I'm investing in real estate, and I'm doing it in my spare time. Now it's my full time, but back then it was my spare time. I don't need to spend a lot of money to invest. And the beautiful thing is, if I even start with a few $100, let's say I buy a property for $375, which, if you know my story, that's how much I spent to get restarted in land investing. And I turned that into each one into $1,800. Now I can take a property that's worth around 1,500 and invest in that, or excuse me, I can invest in about 1,500 worth, and then double, triple that, and then double and triple that, and then so on and so forth. And now, if I want to get into the more traditional markets of like being a landlord and have rental property or things like that, or flipping houses, I have the income to do it because I started my investments in pure land, starting very small lots, pennies on the dollar, and just kind of steadily growing from there. But you don't need a ton of money in this. Even if you never level up to the point where now you're buying $50,000 properties, $100,000 properties, you're going to be fine because you don't need a lot. And in fact, it's going to take me to my next misconception in a minute. But as you can see, because there's no houses, there's no inspections, and people don't understand the value of land sometimes, it's much easier to buy land for less and then find those folks who do understand land, which is most people when they're looking to be consumers, and then sell to them. Especially if you do it right, you can sell to them at a great price where they're happy. You're happy because you doubled or tripled your money. And then the person who sold you the property, they're happy because it's off of their hands and they don't got to deal with it anymore. It's a triple win, but you don't need a lot of money. That's a misconception of real estate. And then hell, a lot of the things that you learn in doing vacant land, it does apply to houses. It's how like a lot of wholesalers can kind of get houses for less than there are. Granted, they're selling contracts and things like that, not the houses themselves, but you can still do the same stuff with houses and things like that. Just depends on your budget and you know different variables like that. But you can still do the same stuff and buy things for cheap. It's easier to buy things for cheap when it's land because again, people don't understand the value of it sometimes and they see it as a burden. But it is what it is. All right, that takes me to my next misconception. Misconception number 4: you can't get property for free. Now, I used to believe this for a long time. Like I heard about people doing it, but I thought these were one-offs or they were lying or like, yeah, you got it for free, but it's a toxic waste dump. Of course you got it for free. But in reality, that's not the case. You can get property for free or very, very cheap. 50 bucks, 100 bucks. Why? Well, depending on the property, depending on what the relationship is with the current owner, they want to get rid of it. Maybe they owe a bunch of back taxes. I've had that. So they just like, just take the damn property. I just don't want to pay the taxes. That happens often. Or you're like, you know what? Here's 50 bucks for your trouble. I'll take the property off your hands. You ain't got to worry about it. Make it easy for you. Here's your money. So you can get it very much for free. Now, I haven't had a property where I've gotten it for free when it's like there's no taxes owed, but because I bought something else of that person's, like another property, they threw in another property for a very small price. So it's practically free. But if you know where to look, if you know how to approach people properly, you can definitely get property for free or extremely, extremely cheap, 50 bucks, 100 bucks. Basically something that you can't even buy a pair of J's for. Now you're investing in real estate. And on a side note is think about this. You buy the property for 50 bucks. Let's just say it doesn't sell, which is never happens. But let's just say, you know, people lost their goddamn minds and they don't want to buy land anymore. They don't want to buy property or real estate anymore. You're out of 50 bucks. Comment below right now on something you wasted $50 on. Comment below right now. Go ahead, comment. I want to know what you wasted 50 bucks on. And whatever that thing is that you wasted 50 bucks on, was it designed to help you turn that 50 bucks into a lot more money? Or was it just a distraction? I know guys that waste that on a single stripper, a single lap dance. I'll use that 50 bucks and buy some property that no one wants. It may have $1,000 or $2,000 worth of back taxes, but guess what? It's worth 4 or 5,000. So I'm coming up with $50 out of my pocket. So even after I buy the property for that 50 bucks, I sell it, I pay off the taxes with the proceeds from the sale. I may only have $2,000 left from all of that, but I have $2,000. I had 50 before. It's 2,000 now. I don't know. It's worth it to me, but you can definitely get property for free. So far, so good. You guys liking this? Is this good? Let me know. Do you suffer from these same misconceptions? Very important that you understand this because these misconceptions will prevent you from moving forward. It will prevent you from actually investing with all your might and doing the research and the study and to really actually going for it because you believe something that's not true off of beliefs that who knows where they came from. All right. Anyways, moving on. Misconception number 5. You guys ready for this one? You need to use a title company to do a transaction. I don't like using a title company. You don't have to use a title company. In fact, the way I teach land investing, you won't never need to use a title company. Now, here's the thing. It is good to have somebody to kind of double check your work, like a title company. It is sometimes some people, when you're selling property to somebody or buying it for a large amount, you may not want the title company, but the person that you're dealing with does. And it just makes the transaction easier. That makes them feel more comfortable because that's what they're used to doing. So, of course, I'll use a title company, but I don't trust them because not all title companies are good. In fact, I'm actually going to that right now. The person that I'm buying some property that's fairly expensive, and the seller felt very comfortable. They felt more comfortable me going to a title company. Okay, fine, not a problem. I'm also looking to use an investor for this, and they felt more comfortable doing that, at least for this first time we're working together. But these guys are slow. I have no idea what they're doing. In fact, I got to call them after I'm done talking to you guys. I'm like, hey, what's going on here? It shouldn't take this long. These are vacant land properties. It's not like it changed ownership a bunch of times. What's happening? Am I going to have to fire you guys and find another title company? But the point is, you don't need a title company. All the stuff that they can do, you can do. You have access to all the same public records. You have access to all the tools, thanks to the internet, that they have. All you got to do is just want to put in the work. And most times, the information that you have takes you about 30 minutes to kind of make a complete picture of the title record. and let you know, like, you know what, I can go forward with this deal. It is fine. Or you know what, there's a lot of things that I can't do and I can't fix. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make this transfer happen. I can't do it legally. I can't go through with the deal. 30 minutes, an hour. The longest part is waiting for other people to give you information. But in general, you don't need a title company. And for most times, if unless your property is extremely expensive, I would recommend not having one. I know guys that were doing using a title company, and again, to use a title company, you're spending $1,500, $2,000 for property that's worth about $1,800. Tell me if that makes any sense. You got to buy the property, and you're gonna use a title company so you can make $1,800. So you're losing money, you're breaking even. Come on, man. So it slows you up. It slows up the deal. It drains your wallet for what? Something you can do yourself? Come on, man. You know better. All right. Next misconception. It takes a long time to find a deal. Now, this misconception happens from some truth. And the truth is, a lot of people, from my experience, they don't know how to market themselves as land investors. So when they're sending offers out, they do it haphazardly. They don't do a lot of research. Just got another offer the other day for a property I haven't owned in over a year. Granted, that may not be their fault. They may have you into the county, and the county's slow to update their records. And there's nothing you can do about that, right? You're not going to check every single list person's name on the list to make sure they still own the property. But everybody's doing the same thing. Their offers don't stand out. The amount that they're offering is like it seems very computer generated. It don't seem realistic or human. You know what I mean? And then they're not doing a lot of volume. And then as in they're not getting a lot of offers out, trying to find those people who are ready to make a deal. So because of that, it does take some people a long time. But usually those misconceptions come from the earlier stuff, like thinking you need to know a lot more before you can take action, or thinking that real estate is very expensive, so you're trying to be cheap about everything, or things like that. I get it. You're nervous. You're doing something new. You want to feel confident in what you're doing, but this ain't it. It don't take you that long if you hit it. Got a guy in one of my investment groups. Shout out to Mark. He's been in the group for about a month. He's maybe, just maybe, closing his first deal, as in bought and sold property. First time. I get it. It's scary, but when you're doing things alone or you're not with a group like mine, it probably does take you a long time because a lot of mistakes you're making, a lot of misconceptions you're having, and a lot of fear that's driving your decisions that's causing you deals, which is causing you money. So no, it doesn't take you a long time to get a deal. It doesn't take you a long time for any of that. You just got to make sure you're doing things right. Now, misconception number 7. This goes with 6. Marketing and selling is hard. How many of you heard that? How many of you felt that one before? I can't talk about other industries like I could talk about land, but land is very easy. Why? Because number one, people inherently know the value of land. So you don't have to convince them like you got to convince them to buy a doodad on the internet that this thing is valuable and it's useful. They already know. Most times people are already looking for land. So when you're advertising your property, you're advertising it in places where people are actually searching for it. So instead of you looking for buyers, buyers are looking for you. Sounds like one of those Russian jokes. In Mother Russia, buyers find you, but whatever. So marketing sells not hard, but you got to give the people what they want. Give the people. Or anyways, you got to give the people what they want if you're going to actually do this properly. If you do that right, it's easy to move property. Very easy. You price it right, it's going to be extremely easy to move property. If you follow up with people and help them be their best selves, because people want to buy property, but they're nervous about things and they forget and life happens and blah, blah, blah. It's very easy to move property, but you got to put in that little bit of effort. You got to do things properly. Just like with finding a deal in the first place, selling is the same way. Not hard if you know what you're doing. And the beautiful thing is, for both cases, it doesn't take a lot to learn the skills that you need to know what you're doing. All right. So far, you guys, it's good. You guys liked it. I gave you 7 misconceptions. I got a bonus one coming up. But let me know in the comments below, whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay, is this or are these misconceptions ones that you have right now? Admit it. Admit it if it is. If it's not, say, no, I knew this. Because you know because you talked to me before or whatever it is. All right, here's the bonus one. And it's kind of like the overarching theme of everything. Land is too good to be true. Meaning that there's no way I'm doing the things that I'm doing. There's no way I can get started for so little. There's no way it's this easy to sell. There's no way that this business is so simple and no one's catching on to it. There people would rather be real estate agents or landlords or house flippers or wholesalers and things like that. I'm letting you know it is that simple. I'm letting you know it is that simple. It is not too good to be true. You just got to be in the know, and you can't be afraid to put your money where your mouth is, to invest somewhere. I'm living proof, certified land investor. The guys in my group, certified land investors. Well, they will be soon once they make their, the ones that haven't done it yet. But yeah, certified land investors. It is not too good to be true. If you want to keep overthinking it, just like the first misconception that you need more information, then it's always going to seem too good to be true. But if you are ready to take action and to really learn these skills, let me know. I can help you with that. I can show you how real this is. I can show you how concrete this is. I can show you that this can work for no matter what your budget is. It's just how hard do you want to work and how bad do you want it? It comes down to. Now, I want to remind you, you don't need another training video. You don't need to listen to another podcast. You need to get off the bench and get some shit done. Now, if you're looking for help for getting stuff done, have it in comments below. I could reach out to you. Otherwise, let me know any other questions that you have, any other misconceptions that you may be having about the land investing business. Let me know what's going through your mind. Let me know if this was useful for you. And any other topics you may want me to delve into. I'm happy to do it. This is for you guys. Right? Like right now, I'm supposed to be doing some due diligence on some properties, but here I am having a good time talking to y'all. I enjoy this. I enjoy this. So my challenge for you guys is this. Find the misconceptions that you're having about this business, about this industry, and write them down. And then look at them. And then see if those misconceptions are true or not, if they even seem realistic or if they're kind of ridiculous. The quicker you can admit this to yourself, the quicker you can find solutions to your issue, the quicker you can go on and make some money. All right, that's this for me. We're a little bit, almost right on time. Coach Vic, I'm signing off. Again, sorry if I couldn't get to any messages as I was doing this live. I appreciate you guys being here. Looking forward to showing you guys more stuff. But that's it for me. Peace out. In